Today on D3Live, we're going to be talking about the two brand new leaked BlackBerries, the BlackBerry Bold Touch and the BlackBerry Torch 2. Now, both of these devices are going to be a pretty incremental upgrade from the previous generation of BlackBerries, as they both sport touchscreen displays. Now, of course, that's nothing new for the Torch. That was going to be, the big next new BlackBerry. Didn't really quite turn out too well. However, both of these devices have pretty big upgrades, so I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about what we know about them so far. So the first one is going to be the Bold Touch, which in my opinion is probably going to be the flagship of the BlackBerry line. So of course everyone knows and loves the BlackBerry Bold, probably just got a great keyboard, pretty much great across the board. However, as the name implies, the new Bold is going to have a touchscreen display. Now don't fear, it's still going to have the same, well, it might be a little bit tweaked, but it's going to have still a very, very good physical keyboard. But in addition, it's going to have a 2.8-inch multi-touch display. Now, while 2.8 inches is definitely on the smaller side, generally touchscreen displays need to be a little bit bigger for room to do all your multi-touch gestures and all that kind of good stuff. The BlackBerry it's going to be pretty good, I think, overall. Now, the screen, like I said, is going to be 2.8 inches. It's going to have a resolution of 640 by 480, very high resolution for, like I said, a pretty small display. But where the real things are really going to start happening is it's going to have a 1.2 gigahertz Snapdragon processor and 768 megabytes of RAM. So what this means is that BlackBerry OS 6.1 is going to absolutely scream on this as well as on the Torch. So of course, obviously BlackBerry tends to be a little bit of a lightweight operating system. Not really needing the dual-core Tegra processors and all that kind of stuff. So I think a 1.2 gigahertz processor will be more than enough to make this thing absolutely fly. So the Bold Touch, that looks really quite good. And also, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the Torch 2. So just like the Bold, it's going to be a fairly similar, small upgrade. It's not going to be anything major. It will have a 3.7-inch display with a resolution of 480 by 800, which is a nice upgrade. But where the most of the big things that happen with the Torch is that with the specs. A lot of people kind of complained about the BlackBerry Torch, the original one, was because it just didn't have a whole lot of power. It had a pretty weak processor, not a ton of RAM. However, they definitely did remedy this with the Torch 2, with the same 1.2 gigahertz Snapdragon processor and 768 megabytes of RAM. So overall, I'm really looking forward to these two. I mean, I still think that BlackBerry really needs the brand new Unix operating system, which of course they're working on with the playbook. Will eventually come to the phones, but I think they definitely really do need to get that sooner or later. However, this update with the much faster processor speeds and all that kind of stuff should definitely do a really good job of keeping everyone who's a fan of BlackBerries happy. Okay, so for the second segment of D3 Live, I'm going to be taking live questions from everyone in the chat. As always, every episode of D3 Live is filmed in front of a live audience. We've got quite a few people in here right now, and my dog is over there. So we're going to take a couple of questions and just kind of answer a few things. How much is the BlackBerry Bold Touch going to be? Well, the thing is with that is that this is a leaked rumor. I would assume $200 on contract, same as 99% of all major new phones. But we'll have to wait and see. Probably next month or so when they officially announce exactly what the price will be on the BlackBerry Bold Touch. Do I think it is a little too late? That is a perfect question. If you guys have watched my videos before, you know that I'm not a huge fan of BlackBerry in general. I think that basically iOS, Android, all that kind of stuff. I think all these operating systems are really just hurting BlackBerry a lot. So I think these phones are going to be nice. They're going to help. But I really think that BlackBerry is not going to really take back off and really try to make any positive headroom, whatever the phrase is. But I don't think BlackBerry is really going to start growing again, and people are really going to start coming back to BlackBerry until they get the new Unix operating system, which of course is what they're putting on the playbook. Once they get that all worked out, hopefully fairly soon, I would probably expect maybe next year or so that they can get that worked out. Anyway, guys, that's it for this week's episode of D3 Live. If you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe. I do this every Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. So you can go ahead and watch the pre-recorded episodes on YouTube or check me out live on Vlog TV.